Hey, this end of the road, and a few days ago, when all the props got leaked, we got something very interesting. A leaked picture of almost the entire Spirit Halloween 2025 lineup. At least the in-store props. The online only's probably not, because like Sam wasn't on it, Grave Danger isn't on it, but a lot of other props are. And so you may have seen this before, but I'm going to be going over it me right now so you can hear my thoughts, see my predictions and stuff. But yeah, hopefully it's not too old of news by now. But I say let's just go through this, shall we? So folks, here is the leaked poster in question. And I'm not going to zoom in or anything. No, I'm not going to zoom in. You know what? Look at the props yourself. No, go on. Look at the props yourself. You zoom in. I'm not going to do anything. End of the video. Goodbye. Okay, well, obviously I'm gonna zoom in here, go one by one. Except, okay, there are a few I'm going to skip over. Like, if it's something like Two-Face Teddy that we've already seen, or returning prop, there's no point in going over that. But yeah, I'm going to zoom in on these, go one by one to all the props, and I'll just tell you my thoughts, how I think they look, what I think they'll kind of do, and, yeah. So, taking a zoom in, we can see the very first prop is something quite unexpected. Jack the Reaper. That's right. This might be Spirit's mascot. That's what I'm seeing a lot of people saying. Which I remember a few years ago, people were going crazy over for 2023. Like, it has to happen, it has to happen. But I'll be honest, now that we're seeing it, I'm actually just kind of neutral. I don't know. So, it appears to be floating. Like, it appears to have a scythe and be floating in the air, kind of pointing. And it seems to have, like, cloth trickling down the scythe, sort of, which, I don't know, looks a little weird to me. Like, it kind of doesn't help the floating illusion very much. I don't know. We could be misreading this image. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Although, I don't know. He could be interesting. I'm seeing some people thinking he could just be a Max Straw reskin, which would be a little dull, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know what else he'd do. But yeah, that's interesting for sure. I don't know. I'm interested to see more of him. And next up, we have Headcase Harry, and he appears to be Headcase Harry appears to be Headcase Harry is a fucking clown. No, no. Why? So, as you can maybe tell, I was rooting hard for this guy to be anything but a clown. Just because, you know, we have so many in modern day that I'd rather something just new. You know, I'd rather, because his head, you know, Headcase means insane. His codename was Ghost Maniac. So I was thinking, you know what, maybe we'll be treated to a good straitjacket mental patient. And alas, he appears to be a clown. Which, come on, man. Although, I've accepted my fate, because the thing in the picture appears to match up with what was behind Valak in those earlier theme leaks. And so, I have a bit of a theory for this one. Now, let me preface this by saying, this is going to be 100% copium. But I feel like this guy's going to be similar to Johnny Punk or Silent and Deadly. And the way that, yeah, you know, you can call them a clown, but really, he's more so gonna be a guy in a clown suit, if that makes sense. Well, we don't know that yet. But that's my general theory, that he's still going to be like an asylum patient in like a straitjacket, although his arms are open, so it's probably gonna be like he broke out, he's gonna have like things hang from his wrists. But he's dressed up as a clown. That, I think, could be really cool. I think that would be really damn cool, honestly. It would be a nice middle ground, so that way he could be like a clown while also still not one. So if he is that, I feel like that could end up being pretty neat. Also, in both images, he appears to have a whole lot of blood on him, which is quite interesting, like a full bloody arm, and he appears to be maybe carrying something. So maybe it's a knife, maybe it's like a strap if he has like an open straitjacket, or, who knows, maybe it'll be something else, like a severed limb. So he's bloody, so that's interesting. But also, if you look at his picture in the Valak image, he appears to have a frown, which makes me think that this guy is gonna be like, how do I put it, an angry clown, which would be really, really cool if I do say so myself. Like we have sad clowns with like heckles, but we've never seen an angry clown, let alone, honestly, a prop. So I feel like he could genuinely be a really cool animatronic if they do him right. So honestly, even though he is a clown, I'm still excited for Headcase Harry. Next up appears to be Crypt Countess. I'm not going to try and pull very much out of the image. This is one of the props you can barely make out anything. But she's interesting. She appears to be very tall, like about 7 feet tall. So that's interesting. I feel like maybe they're gonna take the crypt part very literally and she's gonna be like a rotting zombie woman. Which, if so, could actually be pretty neat, honestly. Yeah, as for what she does, I don't know. She slightly looks like a Halloween costumes Banshee reskin. I kind of hope not, but we'll have to see. One of my friends suggested it could be a Creepy Rising doll reskin, which would be neat, but I don't really think so. I don't know. I was under the impression she'd be a vampire, which, from what we see, she doesn't really seem to be, but at the same time, it's a very low-quality image, so hell, who knows? But yeah, that's Crypt Countess. Next up, we have one that I know a lot of people are excited for, which is Bullseye, who appears to be a clown with a target on his neck that he's kind of sticking his head through. Kind of reminds me of that one medieval torture method, the stocks, I think, where they like put you on the board and you get tomatoes thrown at you. Kind of reminds me of that, but it's a dartboard. I think he could be pretty damn neat. In fact, I feel like he could be around Cotton Candy Dan levels of good, honestly. We'll have to see. I will say, with him being part target, I feel like it would be a huge missed opportunity if he didn't have like a bunch of darts sticking out of his face or something. But I feel like they're gonna do that. I don't know. It would work. He could be really neat. He looks to be fairly short too. Like, I'm thinking he's gonna be around 5 feet, but like hunched over, like Howling Werewolf sized kinda. Maybe up to 6 feet to the top of the target, but I don't know. He'll be interesting to see. Not sure what he'll do, but he's a cool one for sure. Interested to see what he does. Next is the doll from Squid Game, called Young Hee, which, by the way, I never knew it ever had a name even, so that's a shock to me. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people crashing the hell out over this. Honestly, I don't mind. I mean, I know that Squid Game became like a huge brain rot thing, but I've never watched it, but I know that that's really not what it is. I know that it's like a fairly serious show, question mark. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I don't know. But I'm kind of interested to see this. I feel like when it comes to making a Squid Game animatronic, one of the pink guards would have been cooler. But, I mean, it's alright. Apparently she's $700, which is kind of nuts. Makes me wonder if she'll just be like an animatronic for sale or just like a theme piece. Hopefully she has a fair bit of movement. I've seen the theory that she might be like blow molded plastic, which if that's the case could be a little interesting. How big will she be? I have no clue. But we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll talk more once she comes out, however that'll be the case. Moving down a bit, we have what appears to be Monkey Business. Now, he's one you really can't make out much. But from the general hearsay I've heard, he's gonna be a clown holding a monkey in a cage. Which I just want to say with monkey business, my only condition for him is that he has to include a monkey so I won't be disappointed. Like, he has to live up to that name. If he does have a monkey, whatever capacity it is, great. I'm happy. But if he is indeed a clown with a monkey in a cage, I think that has some damn potential, honestly. It appears that you can see his shoes in the earlier Valak leaks, which in that case, he seems to have a more bleak color scheme, which could actually be pretty cool, honestly. He might have, like, nice vintage vibes, which, honestly, if that's the case, and he's not... I might have to cop low-key, because he could go really cool with Monty and Silent and Deadly. So, keeping that in mind for my display. But yeah, he has potential. I'm excited to see him. So, skipping past He Who Shall Not Be Named, because it came out already, we have Trixie, who, you know, a lot of people, including me, thought would be a female clown, but it appears she isn't. In fact, I heard rumors a little while ago that she'd be a nurse, and she does indeed appear to be a nurse. And I gotta say, I'm actually pretty hyped. I've warmed up. For some reason, I've been a lot more into the idea of, like, scary hospitals lately. And so, I don't know, she seems really cool. She seems to have, like, a much more vintage nurse design, which I think could really work. She also appears to be holding something. Doesn't appear to be bloody enough to be a head or something, but it appears to be a bag, maybe? Don't know what she does. Don't know if she, like, opens it and there's something inside, or if she just... I don't know. Not sure what she does, but I have my eye on Trixie. I don't know. She seems interesting to me, for sure. Next up, we have Trick or Treat Pete, who, you know, I'd really like to go in depth on. I can't make out anything here. Maybe he has a hat, maybe he's holding, I don't know. I'm not sure. He looks colorful. I believe he's a clown. Maybe he'll be neat. I don't know. We'll see. But I can't make out anything here. So, switching to the next little zoomed in section. First up, we have the one, the only, Santa R. Oh. He's just the other one, but in a Santa suit. Okay. So, going away from that disappointment, let's talk about Backbend Bonnie. This is interesting. So, it's kind of interesting how despite her being called Backbend, they're showing her front on, but it kind of makes sense for a lineup thing. I don't know. I'm still pretty sure everything I've heard says she's gonna bend backwards like Broken Spine Girl. In fact, I don't know if I can share this, but I've heard a leak that what she's actually gonna do is kind of like lean forward and then snap back like really fast. That might be fake. I don't know. We'll have to see. Could have been canned or something. I don't know. But she's interesting. So animation aside, should be cool. I heard rumors she'd be a doll. Thing is, though, this thing doesn't really look like a doll to me. You know, still could be. I don't know. But she looks more like a vampire to me, which honestly could be pretty neat. You know, if Crypt Countess doesn't end up being a vampire, but this is, then, you know, we still end up getting one female vampire prop this year, which, hey, you know, would be still pretty neat. I'd be willing to see what they do with that. Her face doesn't look that scary. I assume that they'd want a more scary face, you know, with the whole backbend animation. But, I don't know. Kind of interested to see what she'll be like. You know, I'm very hyped for her demo. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. Do you think she's like a doll or a vampire? Tell me what you think in the comments. So, looking next to her, we have Fire Demon. And oh boy, he is fucking sick. He looks really, really cool from the little look we get here. He looks to be about 7 foot tall. He's wearing black. He seems to have, like, you know, lights in his face and chest. He looks really cool. He's like the love child between Harbinger of Hell and Forest Demon. And I'm all for that, dude. He looks like a good mixture of cool and badass, Well, also looking genuinely threatening and scary. I'm really hyped to see this guy's face. Also, I noticed one of his arms is raised higher than the other. I don't know if he's just going to be pointing or something, or maybe holding something. If that's the case, that would be really cool. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this guy. He looks sick. And I know that a lot of people were expecting this to be that hanging prop from 2018, which I'm going to try and put this as nicely as possible. If you thought that was the 2025 Fire Demon,
you stupid.
Yeah, that was the dumbest ass rumor I've ever heard in this community. I'm not sorry. It was. But yeah, the actual Fire Demon we have looks so much cooler though. Yeah, dude, he might be on the list for me. I don't know. He looks absolutely awesome. I'm thinking somewhere in there is gonna have some kind of flame effect, like maybe something similar to the Cremator, or like one of those flaming pumpkins like that, but on his chest. I don't know. We'll have to see, but I'm really stoked for this guy. So next up, we have Twisted Grandma, who I'm not quite sure how to feel about. I don't know. Just because by now it's pretty much common knowledge that she's most likely going to be the thing from the leaked concept arts from a while back. And I'll be honest, the thing in the concept arts actually really grew on me. In fact, I really wanted to get her for a little while. Thought she was locked in. And we'll see how she is with the demo. But low-key, they changed the dress color to pink. And I don't really know if I fuck with that. I really liked her clothes in the concept art. I thought they looked really cool. I don't know. And so the pink dress, it's not bad. It's just not personally my thing. I mean, she could still end up being really cool. And then, maybe I'll get her. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. I was really excited to see her. But low-key, my excitements have been kind of tempered. But, I still think she's going to be pretty neat. So then, finally, moving on to the final zoomed-in section. We have Sinister Strawman, who, I'll say one thing. I've talked about him before, like when his box got leaked, although we didn't see him. I've talked about him when his picture and the themes got leaked, so I feel like I've mentioned him quite a bit on this channel. I'm excited for him. He does have a hat, thank God, which I was really hoping he'd have a hat. For whatever reason, it would just make him so Halloween-y, but he does. And so I can die in peace. One thing, his clothing seems to be red, which is kind of weird to me. I don't know. It looked red in the manual pics, but now seeing it again, it's definitely red, which, I don't know, I feel like brown would be better, but oh well, it could work. It could work well, so we just gotta see him. Hopefully his face sculpt looks good, but hey, Scarecrow Mr. Dark reskin. Honestly, I'm kind of interested. Maybe would want to buy, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So last, but certainly last, we have the Lantern Keeper. And we saw his picture in the, ISE playbook leak a few days ago. And I think he's growing off me, I think. I don't know. The idea of him being a scarecrow is kind of neat. But he definitely looks like whole heaping loads of mid, personally. I don't know. He gives Halloween-y vibes, at least, which is cool. He's wearing like a top hat. He could really grow on me. I don't know. Hopefully his animation's good. But low-key, he feels a bit like early 2020s techie slop, if that makes sense. He feels like something that, you'd see at like Party City in 2019 and immediately forget about. I don't know. I'm not super hyped for him, honestly. He has potential. He's got that whole Halloween-y aesthetic, which hopefully will be cool. I don't know. I want to see more of him. I want to see what he does. But if it's just like a simple head turn or something, he's not going to do it for me. But yeah, kind of weak prop to end the lineup with, in my opinion. But oh well. But folks, that is the Spirit Halloween 2025 leaked lineup pictures. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I know it's getting a lot of hate, I'm noticing, which I kind of get, because the thing is, it's easy to be disappointed when something isn't exactly what you were expecting. But, it's warmed up to me. I think once we see more of the props, I think a lot of them are going to be really good. So I feel like a lot of them are going to follow a scarier direction, which will probably be fun. But I don't know. There's still ones we haven't seen, like Grave Danger or Sam, and they'll probably be online only. Grave Danger I'm actually a little irked about, because now I think he could actually be really cool, maybe, if he's online. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, tell me what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you're new. And hey, they don't call me End of the Video Haunts for nothing.